Hello mates, I hope you're all doing well. So today's video is going to be a continuation of a video that I actually put out a few weeks ago. I'm going to be continuing to look up the symbolic meanings behind my tattoos using the same tool that all of the great researchers have used. Galileo, Einstein, Darwin, you may have heard of it. Google, and then clicking on the first result that comes up. This is an idea that I nicked from one of Barbara Crane's videos. If you haven't already seen part 1, pause this video right here, go check that one out, and then head straight back here. In the last video, I looked up the meanings behind the tattoos that I have on my right arm. Today, I'm going to be looking up the meanings behind the tattoos that I have on my left arm. I don't necessarily attach that much importance to the meaning behind tattoos. I just tend to get images that speak to me for whatever reason, or I just think look cool. But it is cool to know what symbolic meanings are associated with the images that I have on my body. Let's get into it. So first up, if we start with the skull and eagle that I have on my wrist. I imagine that it'll probably say the skull represents like death and the eagle represents freedom or some bollocks. That's what I say. But what does Google say? An eagle on top of a skull can only mean one thing: victory. Skulls are also popular tattoos, and this person managed to combine two popular designs in one. Hey, V for victory! That information has come straight from Pinterest, which is the best place to go for all of your tattoo information. Right? Pinterest would never steer me wrong. That's a pretty shit answer, isn't it? Oh, the first one, and you steered us wrong, Google. You have steered us wrong. The criteria that I laid down at the beginning of the video, though, was that we would go with whatever the first result was that came up. And so, that is the answer that we are left with. Victory! I don't feel victorious right now. Next up, let's do my clipper ship tattoo. Now, this is an old school Navy image. I imagine it's going to say that this one represents like a love of the sea or the idea of returning home. That's just my opinion though. What's your opinion, Google? For a sailor, ships are both practical and metaphorical. It's where you go for work, but also for meaning and adventure. Sailor Jerry loved ships and held master papers on every major type of vessel. His legendary clipper ship tattoos represent both the adventure and the determination to be homeward bound. Hey, my guy, Sailor Jerry. Big up, Sailor Jerry. Not the rum, though. I got very sick after drinking too much of that shit a while ago, and I can't even look at it now. The guy's tattoos, though, are the reason that I wanted to get traditional tattoos. He was just the king. I do love the idea of being homeward bound, always being determined to find your way back home, even if that's just metaphorically. For me though, I love the home. I never want to leave the home. This is where I feel comfortable. This is where I feel safe. And therefore, whenever I'm away, I'm always wanting to return home. So I'm a big fan of this meaning. Let's look up my straight razor tattoo now. If I had to guess, I would say that this one will represent, I don't know, slicing through the bullshit, the minutiae of life or something. What do you think, Google? The straight razor tattoo can be used to symbolise someone who is old school, or it can be used to represent someone who lives life on the cutting edge. Am I old school? Am I cutting edge? I mean, I look old, I've got grey hair and everything, and I am grumpy as fuck. Maybe I am old school. What does being old school even mean? Like, how old school are we talking? Like, are we talking like thinking it's acceptable to beat your wife for not having dinner on the table when you get home? Because I certainly don't believe in that shit. I'm also pretty boring. I wouldn't say that I'm on a cutting edge. I'm very laid back and happy to just, you know, take it easy. My reason for getting this tattoo is because my artist, Joey Salvage, said it would fill the gap that I had here nicely. Nothing to do with being old. Next up, let's look at what my cross tattoo means. Obviously, I'm assuming it's going to say it's got like religious connotations like Jesus and that. Do you agree, Google? Cross tattoos can be a representation of your devotion to religion or faith. In Christianity, the cross is where Jesus died to save humanity, so it's a significant symbol. Likewise, a cross tattoo can also mean unconditional love and sacrifice, as Jesus felt and did for the human race. Yeah, that's what I thought it'd say. Some of you may know if you've watched my videos before, but I grew up in a Christian household, although I'm now an atheist, and I got this tattoo to represent and pay tribute to that part of my life. I won't say too much more on that, I've said loads in other videos about it. Next up, let's look up my swallow tattoo. Like the clipper ship tattoo, this was a common sailor tattoo that I believe represents the idea of returning home. Show everybody how smart I am, Google. Swallow tattoos are one of the most popular in the Navy and have a number of meanings. Each swallow represents 5,000 nautical miles in a sailor's career. The circumference of the Earth is 21,639 nautical miles, about 4.16 swallows. A swallow with a dagger would be used as a memorial for a lost comrade at sea. Yeah, but it also represents returning home, right, Google? You're supposed to be showing everybody how smart I am. God, you're embarrassing me in front of all my mates, Google. No, I did know that sailors got these tattoos after a certain amount of miles, although I wasn't actually sure on the number. 5,000 nautical miles, though, is an awful long way. About a quarter of the Earth in nautical miles. Mental that, innit? Swallows are such a classic image in traditional tattoos, aren't they? The first tattoo that I ever remember seeing when I was just a wee little kid was on my next door neighbour's hand, and he had, you guessed it, a swallow. Let's move on to my rose tattoo. I would imagine this one represents like beauty, but also roses have got thorns, haven't they? So maybe danger as well. What are you saying, Google? No doubt a rose can be a symbol of love, but there is also a lot of deeper meanings. Passion, true love, immortal love, the everlasting, and a love that will never fade. It can also symbolise sacrifice, respect, or be a memorial. See, there is no mention of thorns there. I feel like my meaning was better. Every rose has its thorn in it. I mean, passion, true love, immortal love, the everlasting, and a love that will never fade. They're also pretty good meanings though, I guess. I love rose tattoos. I've seen a bunch of videos online of tattoo artists saying that you are not a tattoo person if you don't have a rose on you. A rose and a skull. I have both of these tattoos now, so I guess that I'm now officially a tattooed person. Next up, let's look up my anchor tattoo. I'm 1,000% sure this is gonna say it means to stay grounded. 1,000% sure. I'm gonna look pretty silly now if it doesn't say that, aren't I? Come on, Google, don't let me down. Again. As a symbol, anchors hold a lot of meaning. For some, it's simply a representation of the sea. For others, it's a reminder of being held down and remaining grounded. Even more, anchors could symbolise anything from commitment to safety to hope. Because anchors have so many meanings, they're a great tattoo idea. Yes, I was right. In your face, Google. I know things. I know all of the things. I know so many things that I could be a search engine. Ask Ali. That's what they'll call me. That's what they'll all call me now. So yes, I was in fact correct about it meaning to stay grounded. That's what anchors are for, innit? To stop you floating off, being swept away by the tide, so it only makes sense. Again, another classic sailor tattoo and another iconic image in traditional tattoos. We love an anchor tattoo. Fun fact that I've never actually shared with anyone on my channel before, I actually had another anchor tattoo that is now covered up by my greaser tattoo. The more you know. And lastly, let's talk about pin-up girl tattoos. I imagine it's gonna say this one represents like beauty and sensuality, that kind of thing. One last time, Google, what have you got for me? Pin-up girls represent the ideal and extremes of femininity, from maidenly perfection to vixenish temptation. The woman inked on a sailor's arm would be the only feminine form he would see for months. Makes sense, I guess. Fortunately, this girl on my arm is not the only feminine form I get to see for months on end. Fortunately, I do in fact get to see my wife too. Pin-up girl tattoos are just cool, aren't they? It's just such a proper classic tattoo. And that is it. That is part 2 of me looking up the symbolic meanings behind my tattoos, according to Google. I would love to hear what meanings your guys' tattoos have. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, give it a like and hit the subscribe button and all that other YouTube bollocks. If you like the music that you're hearing in the background, it was actually all produced by me. I have another channel where I post beats / instrumentals that I've made for singers to use to write songs to, so if that is something you are interested in, I'll put a link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.